Hi friends, I am Natalya with Mom's Dish. Today we are making something so yummy for breakfast. So here's the thing, Tim's brother was in town and I was on a time crunch. We just flew back from Europe. I was not in the mood to make a ginormous fancy breakfast, but this came to mind. This recipe is amazing. Plus, summer's coming up, you're gonna have kids at home. This is gonna be your key to success. We're gonna start by preheating a pan. Let me tie this up. I'm talking distracted by this apron. Okay, we're gonna preheat a pan just a little bit until this butter melts in the pan. And I'm gonna preheat my oven at 400 degrees. We're gonna use the oven a little bit after we prepare this. Frittata is what we're making, forgot to tell you. So let's preheat an oven. So we're gonna set it to 400 degrees. Pop this in for a few minutes and we have a light situation here. There we go. Okay, while the pan is preheating, just literally until the butter melts, you could have used melted butter and just rub it along the sides. You do not want your pan to be hot. We are gonna start on the egg situation. So your frittata will need 8 eggs, and that's a lot of eggs. That's what's great about it. Like, you know, scrambled eggs are amazing. My boys love it, but this just like takes it to the next level. So we need 8 eggs. Oops, there he goes. And I actually have a little peel in there. Here's a trick. If you have a shell that drops into your egg mixture, use the other shell and it literally just pops right out. Pops right out. You can easily pull it up. 2 eggs, 3, 4. I'll teach you how to count. We have 6. And I will always list a recipe down below. That way you don't have to write it down as I go. Because sometimes I make mistakes too when I share stuff on here while talking and doing the cooking. So we have 8 eggs and you need about 1/3 of a cup of heavy whipped cream. We're gonna pour that in. A little bit of pinch of salt. Well, not a pinch. You need about up to a teaspoon. I always go on the cautionary side because you can always make it more salty once it bakes. But we're gonna whisk this up. Let me get a whisk and toss this out. Okay, I am gonna just whisk this up. I am using a fork, but you can use a whisk just until the mixture is all perfectly combined and smooth. You don't need to make it fluffy. Just needs to be combined. If you want to use any other dairy, so you could use milk, half and half. I love using heavy whipped cream because it's more buttery, like it's more fatty. So it makes the eggs more fluffy, incredible. But you can use milk or half and half, whatever you have on hand works. Okay, this is great. We can set this aside. Just use a little brush and like brush the butter around all the sides. You don't want the egg mixture to stick to the sides. So I'm just spreading out this butter. Here's the thing, if you're gonna be making a frittata, you can add any of the greens that you want. I love using kale because it gives you texture. It just like does not get mushy. But if you want to use arugula, you can use spinach. You can use any of your favorite veggies in here. I'm just literally dumping it in here into the pan, just breaking it into pieces. Just dump it in. It works really well. It shrinks a little bit while it cooks. And this has been pre-washed. You do want to wash your kale or any of your greens because sometimes there is soil literally in between of leaves of the kale. So just make sure you pre-wash it. Okay, that looks like just enough greens on the bottom. So if you have a picky eater and they do not like kale or they do not like any greens, skip it. That's what we did last weekend. I knew my kids will not want to eat it with kale. We set it aside. So I am gonna pre-slice tomato because I feel like tomato with kale adds such a nice contrast of flavors. So I am gonna just slice them in half. Actually, let's rinse them off the wine. And really you can eye this however much you prefer in your frittata. I just kind of do enough to cover the bottom of the pan and that works really well. This serrated knife for tomato, by the way, this is the Zwilling serrated knife for tomatoes. epic. I'm gonna link to it because it's the only knife you need for tomatoes. Okay, we are gonna place these tomatoes into the pan, unless they run away from me. Just enough to like spread them out. I think there was a whole one. Let me cut that up. Okay, and one was lost in the ground. I'll pick it up later. Then, here's what you do. You're gonna spread some mozzarella cheese. You can use any of your favorite cheese here. I used Gouda last weekend and it was amazing. Just enough to cover the bottom. This is about a cup of mozzarella cheese, but you know, the more cheese, the better always. Okay, then, you know what? Actually, let me do this first. I love adding goat cheese. Not everybody loves goat cheese. I love sheep goat cheese. I think it has such a beautiful flavor. There's about 2 ounces of goat cheese here. I am gonna add that in as well. And I kind of leave it in chunks and like place it on top of all of this. And this is why I said don't add too much salt, because cheese will add quite a bit of flavor as well, the saltiness. But literally, if you hate goat cheese, don't add it. Add, I think another one would be good is feta. I couldn't think of the name. Yeah, feta would be really good here. Parmesan would be amazing in here. But I love the soft cheese. Let me rinse off my hands. Now the easy part. We are just gonna place this whisked up eggs into the pan. I love making quiches, but I feel like frittata is another way of making breakfast so easy. And you guys, we have teen boys that are constantly asking me for protein-heavy breakfast meals, and this is a win. I probably would not add tomatoes for them because both of our kids think that they're allergic to tomatoes. But for me and Tim, this is incredible because tomatoes add such a flavor to the dish. They're incredible. I kind of like to spread it around a little bit so we can hide all the veggies, all the cheese. This will fluff up during the baking time. And this is it. Our oven is preheated. I'm gonna pop this at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. You wanna give it 15 and then just check up on it. And then about 20 minutes is a good timing. It's gonna be so yummy. So easy, right? And so cheesy. Okay, in oven this goes. And we just wait. Is this coffee hour? Our frittata is ready. So let's take it out of the oven. Look how fluffy it got. See how much it rises? Actually, let me turn off the oven. And the way you can check if it's ready or not, you shake it and the center should not be wobbly. So it's pretty firm all around. And I love to serve it while it's hot because the cheese is all melty. So we're just gonna slice it up. Oh, it's still a little bit runny, but that's okay. Runny egg has not hurt anybody yet, hopefully. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of herbs on top because I want some fresh greenery. And this is just parsley, just fresh parsley, right on top of that frittata. Okay, that's plenty of greenery. Then I'm gonna run a knife around the edges to make sure we can unstick this. Sometimes it still sticks and that's totally fine. Okay, here's the thing. If you let it sit for a little bit, it just will unstick easier from the pan, but I just want to dig into it already. So I am gonna go for it. I feel like I need something smaller than this. Yep, this is gonna be good. First slice is always hard to get out, but it's still so beautiful. Do you see how fluffy this is? Let me put that on the plate. So fluffy. Let's get one more slice in here because I am gonna be sharing. Okay. Do you see that? Seamy, gorgeous, fluffy goodness. So yummy. I do love how fluffy this comes out. Just so perfect. I'm gonna dig in. Let me get a fork. So fluffy. We're gonna dig in and give this a try. Oh, do you see that cheese pool? Hold on, let's do another one. Let's try one from here. I hope we get a cheese pool. Oh yeah. Ah, we got a cheese ball. But I love the fluffiness. It has so much flavor, usually. This one's probably gonna have a lot of flavor too. I love this. I love the sourness from tomato. Like it leaves the little chunks. It has that texture, like fluffy texture from the whipped eggs with heavy whipped cream. And then a little bit of that goat cheese in between. You can see little chunks in here. It adds like a deeper flavor. Like I said, if you're not a fan of goat cheese, don't do it, but I'm such a fan. I love this. And I'm not an egg person, but I love this. This is so amazing. I hope this makes your summer or just hosting much easier. Or a weekend breakfast time. Just dump everything in, go get ready for the day, and when you come back, your frittata will be ready. All right, guys, we will see you again next time. Bye.